Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrave here. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do hit subscribe. Do hit thumbs up if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on the audio only platform, thank you very much. As always, do leave us a rating and review. Your support is greatly appreciated, as is that of our sponsors, NordVPN. And you can click a link in our description box to get a discounted offer on your plan. There's no risk with a 30-day money-back guarantee. One subscription can be used upon 10 devices. Protect yourself and support the podcast at the same time. And thank you to Crown Trade as well for sponsoring this episode. So much to talk about coming up because it is that massive game against Everton this Sunday. We've already covered that in our match preview with John Gibson and the view from the opposition with Ian from the Royal Blue podcast. Do go back and listen or watch those episodes if you haven't done so, because it will help build up to Sunday in the most perfect of ways, if I do say so myself. But what a big, big day it is on Sunday. We know if Newcastle United win that game, they would qualify for the Champions League. So tight, though. They can't afford to slip up with Chelsea, Villa and Forest chasing them. It's going to be a nervous Sunday. But I'm back in Newcastle United to do it and to qualify for the Champions League for next campaign. And what a season it will have been if they managed to do that, winning the Carabao Cup and also qualifying for the Champions League. So fingers crossed they can get all 3 points. And like I say, I'm betting on them to do so. We will cover what Eddie Howe had to say in his pre-match press conference, because some injury updates, a little bit of hope that Newcastle might have 2 key players back, which will be a massive boost to them for Sunday, as well as some news on one key Everton man who has been confirmed has been absent for Sunday, which again will help Newcastle's chances to get victory against Everton. We'll also talk about Thomas Tuchel's latest England camp, which has not included a few of Newcastle's most informed players of late, which might have come as a surprise to many of you. We'll talk about that later in the show. But first, let's talk about Newcastle United's new home kit, because it has been confirmed by the club. It will be on sale Thursday, the 29th of May, 9 a.m. online and in store. So I'm sure loads of you will be queuing around the block to get your hands on it. Here it is. What do you guys think of it? If you're an avid listener or viewer of this podcast, you will remember that me and Sam Mulliner on the Mulliner and Musgrave show a few weeks ago put up a version of this. It was a leaked photograph of the new kit, and it was this kit. Maybe the blue that goes around the body outline, along the collar, and also down the bottom of the sleeves was maybe a little bit darker. This is quite a light blue on this shirt, but it was definitely this shirt. I said back then I did not like it. I wasn't a fan of the blue on show. You know what? Looking at this, I don't know whether it's because Alexander Isak is wearing it, because Joe Linton is wearing it, because the photographs look so much better. The club have done obviously a great job in promoting this. It has grown on me. I certainly don't dislike it as much as I did a few weeks back. Not going to pass full judgment, though, until I get it in my hands and feel it for myself. Maybe even put it on. Will I buy it? I'm not too sure. I tend to wait for the end of season sales. That's where I've got this season's kit from. But, you know, it looks all right. Few concerns for me. I don't like the fact that the Adidas badge and the Newcastle United badge aren't in the center of a stripe. Doesn't sit well for me. I want them to be in the center of either the white or the black stripes, as it is the kind of in the middle of a black and white stripe. But that's just personal preference. For those listening, if you haven't seen it, we've got 2 prominent white stripes in the middle, 1 black one straight down the middle, and 3 black stripes in total across the shirt. And then you've got kind of 2 smaller white stripes finishing off the body line part of it. You've got a blue trim around the bottom of the sleeves, around the body outline, around the collar, 3 thick white stripes on a black shoulder, which run halfway down the sleeve. Do you know, like I say, it looks decent. It does look decent, but I want to feel it in my hands before I make a decision on whether I'll be getting in it or not. The club describe it as a fresh twist. Says it draws inspiration from a classic northern motif, the shepherd's check. I have no idea what that is. I'm sure some of you guys will be able to tell me. We've got black shorts and black socks as well, which sits well, I think, with the majority of people. Always a clamour to see that. Foundation, Newcastle United Foundation, will get £5 per adult home kit or away kit or third shirt purchased by the end of August. So that means the foundation are going to get a nice bit of dollar every time you buy the shirt through official outlets, which is a lovely donation from the club. Great cause there. Newcastle ladies are going to get their own dedicated version of this as well, which will come out in time for their new season, which shows a commitment to the women's side of things here at Newcastle United, which is absolutely superb. They've had a great season, 5th in the second tier, which is no mean feat after coming up the season before last. They'll go strong in the summer, add a few players to the team, and hopefully get promotion to the top tier. And they'll do it in their own version of this shirt, which is great news for them. I have asked what you guys on Twitter think about it. It's been a little bit split. A few people are liking it, a few people not liking it. We've got Drew here saying, honestly, I'm not massively taken with it. I was hoping for something more. Not keen on the effect of the stripes, and gold trim would have looked better. That said, once I see the team in it and winning, I've no doubt it will grow on me pretty quickly. I have to agree with Drew. I'm not a massive fan of the kind of fade on the stripes that they've got. It's kind of hard to describe what it is. It's kind of like someone's taken a razor blade down the stripes and done that, or like a little marker pen. That doesn't look right to me. It's a little bit different, I guess. Something a little bit fresh that we haven't seen before. Not overly massive fan of it, I have to be honest. But again, that's down to personal preference. I'm sure some of you enjoy or have enjoyed looking at this and seeing a little bit of a different twist on it. We have had a few other responses, so thank you to everyone who replied to me. Harry says, I didn't like from what I'd seen in the leaked photos, but on the actual reveal, it looks great. We will wait and see what the away and third shirt look like before getting any of them. Eric says, I like it a lot, and since it will probably be the last shirt with the current crest, I'll certainly be buying it. John jokes that he would like it more if he saw Mbermo, Gee and Delat wearing it. And Carl says, very simply, it's got black and white stripes and the club badge. What's not to like? But Eric makes an excellent point there. This is likely to be the last home shirt with this badge on it. Of course, the club announced that they will update the club crest. What that will look like, we're not too sure at the moment, but it looks like this will be the final shirt with this crest on it, which will make it even more popular. I reckon it'll sell out instantly on Thursday, the 29th, both online and in store. The badge isn't embroidered. It is that kind of stick-on material, as is the Adidas logo. I love embroidered badges. I'm hoping that when they update the new crest, that every home kit, every away kit, every third strip, nearly every single bit of kit memorabilia comes with that embroidered badge. I think it takes it up a level. I know it's a bit more expensive to do, but I do think it really improves the jersey or the training kit or whatever you're buying. This one isn't embroidered, but it does look a little bit fresher. It's popping a little bit more on these images. But once again, something we'll have to see in person before passing proper judgment. But do let me know in the comments what you think. Will you be queuing around the block to get it on Thursday? Tell me your thoughts. On to the England squad. Thomas Tuchel has announced his latest squad. There it is on the screen. And we will talk about the players who are missing before we talk about the two Newcastle United players who have been included. So, first off, no Nick Pope. And I have to say, if we're being honest, it looks like his time with England is maybe over. He's done nothing wrong to warrant that. I just think Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford and James Trafford, they look like they are Thomas Tuchel's three men. That's, they look like the three keepers that he wants to work with. Pope wasn't in the last squad, not in this squad. It's going to be hard for him to break back into it. And of course, there's doubts over his long-term future at Newcastle United with, of course, James Trafford, the name that consistently gets mentioned every time we talk about Nick Pope and his future at Newcastle United. So, unfortunately for Nick, I don't think he's going to get an England call-up, not under Thomas Tuchel, and I don't think Thomas Tuchel is going to go anyway. You listen to his speak, he sounds very fresh. I think Thomas Tuchel is going to make a real success of this job. Elsewhere, we've got no Jacob Murphy, which probably doesn't come as a surprise to many. He's been in absolutely fantastic form this season, especially since the turn of the year. But, there are a lot of players in his position. You've got the likes of Eze can play on the wing. You've got Saka there as well, Madawaki. So a lot of players in his position, as good as he's been, 20 goal contributions this season, in the Premier League. I'm not surprised that he's not in it. I think this is probably his best chance of breaking into the squad. He would have deserved it. You can't argue with the numbers, but I think it's a position that is so oversubscribed with some really talented players that it's not a surprise he's not in the squad. We all hoped that he would follow in the footsteps of Dan Burn, who is in this England squad. He fully deserves it, and more on Dan Burn in a moment. But unfortunately for Murphy, just not meant to be. No Harvey Barnes either, which is more of a surprise for me. I think alongside Tonali, over the last kind of month, 6 weeks, he's been absolutely brilliant for Newcastle. I think he's been Newcastle's best player, most threatening player. You think to that Brighton game, he was the man trying to do things. I think at Arsenal as well, I think he had a good game as well. For me, I think he can feel very hard done by that he's not had a call-up. Because I have to say, Anthony Gordon, who has had a call-up, has he done as well as Barnes has in recent games? I don't think he has at all. I'm not surprised Gordon's been called up because I think he forms a massive part of Thomas Tuchel's long-term plans for England. But if we're picking on form, then Barnes for me is ahead of Gordon, and I think he's unlucky to miss out, if I'm being honest. Newcastle are only in this position, a healthy position, with one game to go because Barnes found his feet. He's been displaced on the left where he was in great form to accommodate Anthony Gordon, and Gordon has done absolutely nought. So I do feel a little bit for Harvey Barnes. We know how important Anthony Gordon is, not only to England, but to Newcastle as well. He's, for me, the third or fourth best player at Newcastle United. We just need him to find his form. If he features against Everton, you guys know I wouldn't actually start him. I think Eddie Howe will do. And if he does, we have to hope that he finds that form that has been deserting him for the last few games. We know what he can do. We know he's so talented. Fingers crossed he does it against Everton and then goes into this squad and continues that great form. But yeah, no Harvey Barnes in there. But perhaps the biggest omission is Tino Livramento. And when this squad was announced, there was kind of an initial burst of anger and disappointment that Tino Livramento was not in the squad. And I have to say, I was one of those people saying, what on earth is going on here? How is Tino Livramento not in this squad? You look at the left-back options that Tuchel has picked. Lewis Skelly is probably the first choice. Colwell can play there. James can play on that side as well. Maybe Konza, Walker and Alexander-Arnold at a push, but we know they're more right-backs. Dan Burn, of course, can play there as well, but he's definitely been picked, I think, as a centre-back. So you're looking at it and thinking, really? No Tino Livramento, who's been brilliant since coming in and replacing Lewis Hall as Newcastle United's left-back. Brilliant going forward, superb defensively as well. He's been one of the standout players since that cup final. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant in the cup final, and he's continued his form ever since. So when the squad was announced, yes, there was a little bit of anger from myself. But listen to Thomas Tuchel's reasons, and we'll hear from the England manager in a brief moment. I think it's a very sensible decision. I think there's huge benefits to why Livramento has been left out. In fact, let's hear from the England manager now, and then we'll go into what he's had to say and explain why there are benefits to Livramento missing out.
We made Adam train with us in the last camp when he was with the under-21s, but he trained with us and was very, very good, we know. So at the moment there's also a little injury problem, like a concussion protocol going on from the final in the FA Cup, and together with Tino Livramento, Cheryl Kwanzaa, Elliot Anderson, Liam Delap, like all names that could be play a role for us. But a major tournament comes also up for the under-21s. And the intention is that they play a big part in this tournament. And I think it's important. I like it a lot that they have the chance to be leaders in this group, to be players that Lee hopefully relies on and will rely on. And we will monitor this very, very closely. But for these players, we decided, or the intention is that they take their responsibility for the under-21s.
So there we have it. England manager Thomas Tuchel explaining why Tino Livramento, alongside Liam Delap, Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson, not in the senior England squad. But listen to what he's saying there, and I think you will come to agree that it's actually sensible and of benefit to Tino that he's not been included in the senior squad, because he's not going to play. You know, he was omitted after being called up to the last one. He was then let go from it. He's not going to feature in this senior squad. As good as he's been, for whatever reason, Thomas Tuchel right now does not fancy him as first choice, either right back or left back. So you've got to weigh it up here. Tino Livramento's had a really busy season, played so many games. He's called up to the England senior squad where he's just going to train, got to do a little bit of travel, but he's not going to play. You know, he could be on holiday. He could be resting up before pre-season begins. Or he can go to the under-21s, get some experience in a major tournament, sign off on his under-21 career as well, hopefully picking up the trophy. He can pass on his experience of this season to younger players, you know, and he can also help himself keep fit, keep playing competitive football, then have a 2-week break, and then head into pre-season with Newcastle United, hopefully on a high. If it's me, I'm rather getting called up to some form of an England squad and playing competitively rather than just going and training and then sitting on the bench for a couple of games. I don't know how Tino Livramento's thinking. I'm sure on one hand he's maybe a little bit good he's not in the senior squad, but accepting of the reasons. And, you know, Tuchel mentioned their leaders. He wants that leadership that these players have got, the likes of Elliot Anderson alongside Tino Livramento, and that's absolutely crucial. You know, having that responsibility, having the England manager say that out loud, having Lee Carsley, the under-21 manager, expect that of you is absolutely crucial to your development. So having that on your shoulders, that responsibility, I think will make Tino Livramento not just a better player, but a better leader as well, knowing that people are expecting you to be that voice in the dressing room, to be that guiding hand, and hopefully he can do what is expected of him, not just when it comes to playing football, being good defensively, being fantastic attacking, but also as a leader. So I'm not disappointed. I'm not angry he's not in the senior squad now that Thomas Tuchel has explained it, and then I think it makes perfect sense. The under-21 Euro Championships takes place between the 11th and 28th of June in Slovakia. Lee Carsley has to cut 6 players from his current squad that he has picked. Don't think Tino Livramento is in any danger there. I mean, Tuchel wouldn't have named him in person if he was. And yeah, so June the 6th is the final squad announcement. So keep an eye on that. But like I say, no danger that he's being cut. Quick word on Dan Burn, as we said, in this England squad. Brilliant to see. How good has Dan Burn been this season? And I honestly don't think anyone could have predicted how good he's been this campaign. No one would have predicted him getting an England call-up, making his debut, and then keeping his place in the England squad. That shows you how good he's been, because there are plenty of options at centre-back. Would have been interesting to see if Mark Gee had been fit. He's suffering from concussion. He's got to follow the protocol. That's why he's not in the squad. But would Dan Burn have kept his place? If so, interesting to see. But it doesn't matter, because Dan Burn has kept his place, because maybe Gee's not in it. But he deserves it. He's been absolutely superb. And there is also a report in the Daily Mail from Craig Hope that there's an extension on the table for Dan Burn, deal and terms agreed, and he's likely to stay beyond 2026 when his current deal runs out. And again, that's fully deserved. And what an end to his career he's having. Opening the scoring in the Carabao Cup final, England call-up, England debut, and then another England squad. I think he's got a real chance of playing a major part in Thomas Tuchel's squads going forward. Obviously, he's going to be in the conversation come the start of next season. Will he be first choice? Will Newcastle go out and sign a centre-back? You've got Botman coming to fitness as well. He's going to have a battle on his hands. But for me, he's been Newcastle United's best centre-back this season. So there's no doubt he's in the conversation to start in that position come the new campaign. And he's thoroughly deserved this England call-up. Ignore the haters on a media platform, or a national platform, who criticised his debut, who really went in on him. Bizarrely, too harshly for me. It wasn't fair. It wasn't balanced. I thought his debut went well. Yes, the last 10, 15 minutes, he looked a little bit shaky. Maybe he was a little bit tired. But overall, I think he did all right. He's got that experience that no doubt Thomas Tuchel is after. And I think he will play a part in the next 2 games for England. And he's got a real chance to stake his claim. Really, really has. Thoroughly deserved. On to the final topic then of today's show. And that is the pre-match press conference that Eddie Howe held on Friday morning. And the 2 big bits of news that came out were injury updates. Firstly, on Alexander Isak, will the Swede be fit course, he missed the last game against Arsenal with a groin injury, which came a little bit out of the blue. Eddie Howe, of course, was asked about it. It was the most important question of the entire press conference. And he said, Alex is doing okay, hasn't trained with us yet, but has made good progress. Next few days will be crucial to his availability for the weekend. There is a chance we will only play him if he is fit to contribute. We will leave the decision on Alex until tomorrow. Let me know in the comments, do you think Alexander Isak will be fit? A little bit of a boost further on that, because David Moyes this afternoon has confirmed that Gareth Branthwaite will not be available for Sunday. So there is Everton's best centre-back out injured. Would have been a really tasty battle seeing them two go at it, but he's not there. So there's a further boost to Newcastle United's forward line. If it is Alexander Isak, if it's Callum Wilson, Willis Sula, hopefully it's Isak, but Everton without their best centre-back, they're already out without James Tarkowski as well. So that back line is going to be decimated. You're going to have 39-year-old Ashley Young at right back, O'Brien at centre-back, Michael Keane, who is just, he's pretty awful. He's going to be the other centre-back most likely, and then Miklenko on the left back. So that is a defence that Newcastle United can certainly and should be getting at, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Everton managed to hold Newcastle's front line, especially if Isak is fit. The other injury update came on Kieran Trippier and Joe Linton. Joe Linton won't be back, Eddie Howe said. He's had another injection in his knee, making good progress. We envisage he will be back pre-season with no problems. Added, Kieran Trippier hasn't trained with us yet, but has a chance in the next couple of days to build up his load. We'll see on his availability. So you never know with Eddie Howe what is the reality and what he's saying. Obviously, he's never going to show his full hand because he don't want to give it away to the opposition manager. Will Kieran Trippier be back? You hope so, but it's one of those where he has to be, fit. He has to be fit and raring to go, because Everton, as much as they are a bad side, have good attacking players, whether it's kind of Dwight McNeil or Doucouré or whoever's going to be on that left-hand side. They can be dangerous. So you don't want a 50, 60%, 70% Kieran Trippier going up against one of those, because that's a hard battle to win when you're fully fit, let alone not. So has to be fully fit. I'd love to see him back. I think Newcastle United could really do with him in a game of this magnitude, that calming influence, that experienced head, but he has to be fully fit. Otherwise, if it was me, Emil Kraft starts at right back, Tino on the left, Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, you go 4 at the back. Then the question is on the wings, Harvey Barnes or Anthony Gordon. For me, Harvey Barnes, Murphy on the right, midfield 3 of I wish it was Joelin, of Bruno, Tonali and Miley, although I think it'll be Willock. Hopefully Zach up top to round off that team with Murphy and, like I said, Barnes on the flanks. But let me know in the comments what you would do. How are you feeling about Sunday? Give me your score prediction as well. I'm confident Newcastle United are going to do it. It's in their hands. It's the best place to be, in control of your own destiny. 4 o'clock kickoff. Hopefully the crowd can set the tone with a wonderful and a feisty atmosphere which will rattle Everton from the word go. That's what we need. Similar atmosphere shown against Chelsea to begin with, PSG last season and what have you. Let's set the tone in the terraces. That'll transfer onto the pitch. Nice early goal for Newcastle United, and hopefully 3 or 4 to round off the game and qualify for the Champions League. I'm backing them to do it. It's going to be nervous though. But let me know in the comments your thoughts. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Do hit like, do hit subscribe, and I'll catch you guys very soon.